Good evening, everybody. How is it going tonight? Coming in from Colombia, as usual, for me right now. And we're doing a little bit of a later night live stream tonight, right before July 4th. So, all of my people inside of the USA, happy holidays. This weekend you get a little relaxation, hopefully get to spend some time with family and friends, get to have those summer of fun, of relaxation, of hair, all that kind of fun stuff. So we'll wait for a minute to get going tonight with what we're going to talk about, which is about how to order custom systems, as well as talking about some choices for what to wear during summer, what systems are really, really good for you during summer. So we'll get into that in just a minute or two. And I also have some discount codes for you for custom systems as well as for stock systems. So make sure you stick around. A little bit about who I am, if you don't know who I am. My name is Jake Kent, and I have been wearing systems now for about hair systems for probably 5 or 6 years. And I partner with LaVivid to make educational content for you. One, about LaVivid and some of the units here, but also how to really just get the most out of your hair system. And during these 6 years, I've had a YouTube channel. It's not huge, maybe 14,000 subscribers. And I also founded the subreddit for hair systems. So Reddit, our hair system, which, are great places for our community to talk, to hang out, but also to get education, to help one another, to look better and things like that. So I see we got about 7 people here watching live. So I'd love to know where you're coming in from today. And we'll get into the topics tonight, which is systems for summer, as well as how to really order custom, which is going to be really, really fun because we get to, do this together. Any questions you've got as I'm going through, you can ask me and I can answer them right there. But type in the comments where you're coming in from tonight. If you're coming in from the US, if you're coming in from somewhere else, let me know whereabouts you're coming in from. I want to see who we got in the chat here today. So a little bit more about the journey that I had before we get into it. So about 6 years ago, started wearing systems, and I did that while I was in the middle of a relationship. It was actually right before COVID. And that was an amazing time because during COVID, I got to really experiment with hair systems, have some failures, have some successes, try things out while the world was a little bit slower. And I also was making about a video a day on hair systems and putting it on YouTube. So was doing a lot of hair system content and started to get not well known, but known well enough, which is how LaVivid and I connected. So during that time, though, the big things that I realized is that this is not just a journey of hair loss and getting your hair back, but it's about identity. And a lot of the issues that we face here in hair loss as men actually comes down from like an identity change when we lose our hair and we're forced with shaving our head, or basically losing our hair. But it forces this identity change that we don't get to choose. And when we don't get to choose an identity change like that, it can cause like a lot of inner turmoil, excuse me. And so it was a really great therapeutic channel to be talking about this stuff, having conversations with people, as well as exploring how-tos. So I see that we got somebody from Waynesboro, Virginia. Very cool. Virginia has so many fun town names that just sound so American. But that is one of the most American places on earth right there, is Virginia. Glad to have you with us, and happy 4th of July. see guest 6101 California, also a very American place, right? You got it's hard to beat, thinking about like Malibu Beach or what's the beach with like all the weightlifters. LA or California is so many different things though. LA, Venice Beach, that's right. Um, yeah, LA, you got San Francisco, you got Mount Shasta up above, you got down in the south, you got interesting culture everywhere in California. I am currently in Colombia. So I'm in South America right now, which is, I hang out here a lot, Argentina, as well as around the world. So, anyways, let's get going talking about tonight. So tonight we'll be walking through once again how to order a custom system. So this is a great time for you to ask questions. Like I'll literally walk us through and ask anything about this stuff. So that way you can just make sure you know exactly what you're going to get. But we're also going to be talking a little bit more about um, summer hair systems, like what systems you should be wearing during summer, right? So, good stuff. Hey, check that out. We got somebody from Brazil. I need to go to Florianopolis, Floripa. It's on my list. Um, I think I've heard the community there is great, that it's the safest place in Brazil. And it's just like incredibly beautiful. So that's on my short list of places to go, maybe this year. All right, let's get into it. Let's get you guys a little bit of contenido, which is Spanish for content. God, I'm such a cheeseball. All right, cool. So as we're entering into summer, summer means what? It means heat, means sweating, it means for some people, right inside of the hair system world, summer is like fear, right? Because you're thinking about if your bond is going to last long enough, outdoor activities, the sun beating down on you, changing the color of your air system because of oxidation, all this kind of stuff. If that's you, throw me a little hands up. Florida, great. I used to live in Florida for 8 years. I love St. Pete, Florida. That's my one of my homes. So summer can be a challenging time for hair systems. And if you're just getting started with hair systems, obviously, you might not be super familiar with the different options that are out there or what units you should go for. If you have been using hair systems, it's a great time to talk about like what are the different advantages to different hair systems and what you should go with and why. So this is going to be good for everybody here. So today, what we'll be doing is I'll kind of walk us through some of the systems on the LaVivid website. Today, I do not have the actual systems with me in person to show you, but I will show you them on the website. So um, a couple of the systems that we really recommend for summer, and then I'll tell you why. Okay. So the first one that I really recommend is the Helios. Now, why do I recommend the Helios? Well, let's go into the let's go into the screen. I'm going to switch us around here, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Helios after I show it to you. So, oh boy, that's my hand. Okay, so this is the Helios, right? Very easy to find on the website. If you search for Helios, or you can actually search for lace hair systems by going down to base type lace. So why do I recommend the Helios? So the Helios is a Swiss lace base. Now, if you don't know what a Swiss lace base is, first off, the hair systems have different base types. One type is made of like a mesh material. Think about like a really, really fine fishing net, except way, 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 way thinner. Um, So that's what lace is. It's very, 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 very breathable. And there's generally two different types of units, French lace or Swiss lace. Swiss lace is a finer lace type, meaning it actually looks better and generally has a better hairline. That's another thing. It's a little bit more delicate, though. This is one thing that you'll find wherever you go. Generally, the more believable something looks, it's a little bit more delicate. because they're much finer materials, like they're physically smaller and more delicate, things like that. So back into it. So this is a Swiss lace base right here. All of the knots at the front are bleached. What does that mean? Well, in the front of a hair system, right? All of a lace system is hair that's knotted into the base. And in the front, you want it bleached because that will give a natural appearance as if it's coming out of the scalp. If it's not bleached, it can look a little bit like dots. So this is common knowledge across any hair system, any company that you'd have to deal with. So it's really good that we have the front of this bleached. Now, the next thing about it is obviously that it's very breathable. So with that, lace base, all lace base types are going to be extremely breathable. For example, every single day I go and do CrossFit, and have no issues with it. I'm using a lace base right now. It's incredible. I used to use poly for years and years and years, and still do CrossFit and sweat a lot and all that kind of stuff. But it really is a big difference using a lace base with these physical types of activity. It's not that you can't do it with the other types of units, but it's just way more comfortable with lace. So that's good. Now, let's go a little bit into the product details. So we see full Swiss lace. The size here, this is the dimensions 8 by 10. That's the base size. What that means is that your max width cannot exceed 8 inches. Your max length, right, from like hairline to the back of your hairline or back of your hair loss here, should not exceed 10 inches. If it does, you need to get like a custom system. Next, the hair length 6 inches, hair density 90. Now hair densities can vary from company to company. 90% density is what we consider light. Okay. And it goes all the way to like extra light and then basically extra light. I'll show you that inside of the custom stuff. So this is really good. This right here is about 90% density right here. So, still a lot of hair, still a lot of hair. And I would encourage you, unless you have, a different ethnic descent that is like very, very, very thick hair, to maybe go for something a little bit lighter like this. That's just my opinion right there. And then we'll see. I think it's, good to see this, right? The hair type, this is Indian Remy hair. So, what that means is like this hair is it's a high quality hair, it's human hair, but it is from Indian descent. With custom units, I'll show you in a little bit that you can actually order European hair if you're of hair, if you're from European descent like me, excuse me. And then you can see here the yearly plan. How many are you going to need? Maybe 2 to 3 per year. So good stuff there. I'm going to answer some questions real quick, just because I saw that some people had some here. So I want to try a new base with skin. What can you recommend? Well, I'm going to recommend one a little bit later. So stick around for that. What's the difference of Mars and the Helios? Actually, guest 6039.6. If you want to tell me a little bit about how you use your system, what you like, what you don't like, densities, all that kind of stuff, I can recommend a little bit better. Next, what's the difference between the Mars and the Helios? So yes, LaVivid did answer you. Mars is the upgraded version of the Helios system, featuring specifically designed thinner graduated hairline. So the Mars has, as they're talking about, a graduated hairline, and it actually graduates all the way back through the system. So what that means is, right, like for people that lose a lot of hair in the back, this can be really, really good because it will last a long time, but it will still give you that believable hairline, that see-through hairline, that like is really, really indistinguishable. So it's very, very nice. I like it a lot. Um, Guest 1917 or 19175. I need 80% gray and I don't want to use glue. Can I use tape instead? Of course you can use tape. Of course you can use tape. Um, that 80% gray doesn't have anything to do with that. I don't know if you're asking that. Um, Tape is absolutely fine. You can use that with lace, or you can use it with a poly system or any type of system. So all good on that front of things there. So we talked about the Helios. The next one we'll actually talk about is the Mars, which was just brought up in the comments there. So the Mars is great because once again it's an upgraded Helios, has a little bit better hairline because it's a reduced density or graduated density. So it's going to give you an even better look if you want to do something like your hair pushback. So we love to see that. So otherwise, very, very similar. The next up is the Eros. The Eros is a skin, and the tape number. uh, I'll get back to that comment in a second. So the Eros is a poly thin skin unit, and it's amazing because it's only 0.02 millimeters thick. Very, very, very thin. And I'll show it to you guys right here. I used to use the Eros for years, So as you can see, the base type actually looks a little bit different, right? So it's polyurethane. Um, Now we can go into the actual details here. So you'll see it does have a realistic hairline, 0.02 to 0.03 millimeters thick. But let's kind of go into the product details here. So 8 by 10. So we talked about that. 6 inches long. That's kind of the standard that you're going to get from all of these units. 90% density. So it's going to be the same as the Helios. Same type of hair, Indian Remy hair. This is a body wave, a 28 millimeter rod size. So this is just a light wave. And then this right here, the yearly plan, they say, is about 6 to 8 pieces. So I have experience with this unit personally. I would say that with these, if you're careful, you can also make them last longer. You know, I used to wear them for 3 to 4 months and didn't have any issues with that right there, which would put it down to, you know, uh, 3 to 4 units a year. So that's another great unit. The thing about the Eros, right, is it is a polythin skin. So what does that mean? It means that it's not going to breathe as good as the Mars or the Helios. So that is one thing for you to consider if you're somebody that does like to do a lot of physical sweating, all this kind of stuff. It's a good option. Maybe not the best option if that's the thing that's most important to you. So good stuff. Now, I wanted to talk about two other units, and then I'm going to give you actually a discount code if you want to go with those before we talk about our custom units. Um, so the next two are actually the new technology that LaVivid has been using inside of their systems, which is the Zeo technology, which basically is an antimicrobial, excuse me, technology that they apply to the base of a hair system, which actually stops that antimicrobial activity from going on. So, what does that ultimately mean? That means that you are not going to have as many problems with odor if you're somebody inside the hair system space that has experienced that before. I have tested. I actually made a video on it. It's on my YouTube, showing you that after 2 weeks of use with the Zeo technology, that the amount of antimicrobial backup or buildup that happened for me was significantly lower. So that if it's a concern to you, go with the Zeo units, which I'll show you two here in a minute. The good thing is it also never wears off, right? So you can have that on your system for as long as you use it. So the first one we'll talk about is the Zeo Mirage. All right, so this right here is another thin skin unit right here. So it's poly. So that means it's not going to be very, very breathable, but still a great unit. Now, this one is a little bit thicker than the Eros, so it's 0.04 to zero point zero 0.06 millimeters. So it's going to basically be the second thinnest skin that we have, but it's going to last a little bit longer, which is great. So this right here has V-looped skin, right? V-loop is the way that the hair is actually thread through the base, so it's basically kind of V'd in and out, which is nice. Gives a very, very natural looking look to the base. This unit, 8 by 10 as well. So that's your max width and length. 6 inches long, which is the norm. 95% density. So it's a little bit thicker than the other ones. Same curl to it, 28 millimeters, and I'll show you those in a minute, what they actually look like. And you'll see base thickness, 0.04. So they rate it as 4 to 6 pieces per year, right? So because it lasts a little bit longer than the arrows. But if you take care of them, they can last longer than that. And many people do go longer than that. Stopping for a minute, guys. We got 10 people in the chat. If you got any questions, whether it's about this stuff or about some other stuff, please let me know. Regarding the question on if there's any salons near you in the Virginia area, so we actually have um, a partner salon page that it looks like LaVivid is actually linked for you here in the chat. So if you open that up, you'll be able to see. You can actually just type in. I would do Control F. You can type in Virginia or even try VA and see what pops up there. There's probably got to be something pretty close to you because there's lots of different providers there. And if you can't find one there, then you can always type in, like um, hair system salon in Google, and you can find some as a preliminary search. So back to it. So the Zero Mirage is great. We have another Zeo technology, which is great, which is the Zeo Aries, which you guys have not seen as well. So let me bring that up for you. The Aries is the one that we're going to talk about tonight. That's actually a hybrid system. And a hybrid system is a mix of two different base types. So you can see here, it actually has poly around the sides and back, and then the front and center are all lace. Now, why is that useful? Well, the poly is definitely easier to install on, so that can be really, really nice for you. And then the lace obviously will give you the breathability and believability. So with these right here, we'll go down to the product details. So we have the lace base, 95% density, so still in the same ballpark. Indian Remy human hair. The wave is 30 millimeters, so it's a little bit looser than the other unit. Bleach knots on the front, and 2 to 3 pieces per year, so lasts a little bit longer than the other systems, which is really great. Whew, teething. It's late here. No, I just like to go to bed early. So these are units right here, just to go through them one more time, that are really great picks for summer are first, the Helios, second, the Mars, third, the Eros, fourth, the Mirage, and fifth, the Zeo Aries. So these are really, really great summer options for you. With if you want to bias more towards breathability, pick either the Helios, the Mars, or the Zeo Aries. If you want to go with ease for the summer, pick the Eros or Zeo Mirage. Am I wearing a custom? I'm looking at comments now. Am I wearing a custom system or a pre-cut? So my system right now is not a custom system, the one I'm wearing. This is actually the Mars that you're seeing right now. And yeah, sounds interesting. I want to try the Zeo this time. Yeah, it was actually super fascinating. I wasn't sure exactly how well it was going to work. I saw the videos and I was like, okay, cool. Let's give it a try. Very, very surprised. So one of the things that I notice, right, is because I sweat a lot, go to the gym, as I mentioned a lot. Um, and after about 7, 10 days, 14 days of being in the gym, I would take off the tape, like take off my system, take off the tape off of it, and it would be kind of like a yellowish color, right, from the microbial buildup in the tape. Right, the sweat is trapped and it changes the color from clear into like the yellowish color, which also makes it easier to see. That's another thing. Like for other people, when there's a discoloration, it's like a little strange. So when I used the Zeo system, I noticed that I was not getting any discoloration. The tape after 10 days, 14 days was completely clear. You can look at it in my video on YouTube. Can you wash it daily? 100%. If you want to jump in the shower daily, you can. So, new to this, I'm 36 and started losing my hair as a teenager. Can still grow some hair on the sides of my head, but typically keep my head shaved. How long would you stop growing out the sides before trying one out? Um, there's people that go with like bald fades that don't have any hair on the side of their head, just because of style or because they can't grow out their hair on the side of their head. So if you want to, everybody's hair grows at a different rate. So I can't say grow it out for 2 weeks. What I can say, that depends completely on the style that you want. So, if you want something a little bit shorter, how long is this growth right here that you see? This is probably like, maybe 2 weeks right here. And this is probably more like a month and 2 weeks. I don't know. So that's kind of where like my hair is. Obviously this has been shaved down and faded and stuff like that. So yeah, just depends on the style you want. But you could start with a bald fade and then let it grow in. Um, Let me know if you got more questions about that. And then, can you install it yourself? You can install it yourself. There's videos on YouTube about kind of like what the process is, as well as LaVivid has videos about like how you go about this whole process if you don't know how to do anything. I've made a ton of videos on that kind of stuff. I've got like 400 videos on my channels. Some of that is about like the psychology of wearing an air system, just like, hey, it's an identity thing. And how do you move through this? And also, all of the concerns of like, oh my god, people see me without hair. How do I, migrate to wearing hair? To tips and tricks, to also style advice of just like, hey, these systems don't look good. You'll also see my version of transformation, which is like, 6 years ago, you can see what my hair systems look like. They were less believable versus now, much more modest. So it's cool to watch that journey too. Um, Anyways, guys, so let's wrap up this piece of the live tonight. If you guys are looking for stock systems, so if you use the code Jake Live inside of the checkout, there's like a little coupon thing. You'll get 15% off stock systems, but that's only during the live. So if you want to buy one during the live, you'll get 15% off, which is cool. If you got any questions about stock systems, about any that we talked about, or any other ones that can answer that kind of stuff, I'll probably answer it a little bit after this next section right here, where we're going to actually kind of go through. We'll go through how to order a custom system on the website. Okay. So what I'll do is I will bring up the website and I will take you right from the get go. Okay, cool. So we're in the website, and you can see right here, there's that custom on the top bar. So click on that. You're going to click on custom to pay. I know this is the simple stuff now. This is the page that you're going to get brought to right here. So kind of walks you through the steps that will happen. So one, you're going to provide all details. That's what we're going to do that today. Submit your order for a quote. That's where we'll end today. What will happen after we go through all the details is it would get sent to LaVivid as an order request. They would confirm with you, send you a payment link right here. You would pay it, then it would begin. It would begin processing. Okay, so vamos. Let's begin, shall we? Okay, so the very first page that you'll see here is all about the type of base. Now, there's a lot more different base types than what we talked about tonight. So we'll go through them just for funsies. So the first one here is a full Swiss lace. So like the Helios, this is a full Swiss lace. The next is lace front and center, and then 1 inch skin on sides and back. So this right here, you can see there's a little strip right there of tape all the way in the outside. Next, lace center and 1 inch all the way around. Next, we have basically the thinnest polyurethane. So this would be similar to the Eros. Gets a little bit thicker with the 0.04, 0.06 see-through skin. And then it goes up to the same thing. Well, actually 0.08, excuse me, with either V-loop or with knotting. Next, we've got a couple more options for you, which is thicker skins. So it's going to last longer. Basically, zero point 0.1 millimeter skin with V-loop or knotting. Then we can go to our lace front monotop, and then NPU, which is a combination of lace and polyurethane to create like this type of pattern right here, which gives you breathability, but also a lot of integrity to the unit. Next, a monotop, an NPU around the base. And then we've got a silk base, which is great if you want like a very, very, very natural scalp appearance. People say it's kind of the best scalp appearance. So you have that with 1 inch skin all the way around, or a silk top with a lace front with 1 inch skin on the sides and back. So lots of options here. Lots and lots of options here. So I'm just going to go with Swiss lace here. Call me basic, I don't care. Next, we've basically got all of the different colors you could possibly want. Oop, I selected back. Be careful of that. First, if you have sent LaVivid a hair system or you've sent them a hair sample, you can click this right here, which is great. If you have not, though, you can say that you're going to send it in, which is also great, or the same as your last order, which is good. Or if you don't have any of that, you can pick through all of these colors that we've got going on. Now, these are the base colors, right? So you want to pick what your basic tone is. So for me, I'm actually a 6. And then you can see here, we can actually pick your percentage of gray no matter what color. So let's just say I see there's a comment in the chat that there is kind of maybe 80-85% gray. Which one should I purchase right there? So let's just say we're going to go with 80% density right there. Okay. Now we get to pick what type of wave or curl you want for your hair. So starting from the 3 millimeter here, you're looking in the afro territory, like a tight afro wave. Then we go into a medium afro at 4 millimeters. Okay. Then we go into a tight curl. This is at 10 millimeters. This is what it starts to look like at 12 millimeter rod, right? So very curly, but not a tight curl. Then we start going into this tight wave right here. I personally, I really, really like this this style right here. This wave I think is really, really nice. I also want to try this in the future, by the way. But then you've got your 25 millimeter wave. So we're getting into basically like body wave type of territory. We'll call it a medium wave. And this is what they call a body wave right here. This is 28 millimeters, which we've seen on a lot of stock units. And then basically straight hair without any wave whatsoever. Um, I do recommend, if you think you got straight hair, like if you are like me, and you think, oh yeah, I got straight hair. If you're European, chances are you probably, not definitely, but you probably have a slight wave to your hair. So going with like a 28 or 25 millimeter rod size for a custom system probably would make more sense to you than getting completely straight hair, believe it or not. But this is a build a bear workshop, except for hair. So you can totally mix it up and try something different if you want. For example, I've never had super curly hair, but why not? Maybe I'll have LaVivid order me one. Who knows? Um, Guys, let me know if you got any questions as we're going through this right here, because I know we're speeding along. We're cooking. This last page, big scary page. So one, you get to designate your base size right here. So you can pick some of these standard options, or you can select other and actually determine it, right? So we'll just go 8 by 11. We'll say that. Next, the hair type. So the Indian Remy hair that you see here is well, the hair that you find in all the stock units. Chinese Remy hair. So this is going to be a little bit, well, one, it's from Chinese ethnicity, but the hair is actually more coarse, like it's more dense, or not dense. It's a bigger piece of hair, if it makes sense. Like their hair is actually bigger than, say, the European hair, which is actually the finest of all of the hair. Like the actual follicle, not the moth, not the follicle, the hair strand is thinner. The material is thinner. So, if you're of my descent, well, let's just say we're going to go with European hair. Okay. Um, Hair density. And I see that there's a comment. I'll get to that in just a moment there. But hair density, right? So we talked about here that you can pick your density. With the stock systems, they generally tend to range from like 90 to maybe 130% are stock systems. But if you want to go a little bit lighter to light or extra light, you totally can. For example, right, I'm wearing a 90% density unit pretty much right now. I had LaVivid make me a custom unit that has 80% density. So you guys will get to see that probably in the next live that we do in probably about 2 weeks. So I'll just say 80% density right there. I am going to stop for 1 second before we carry on, and I'm going to answer a couple questions. So, if you like this stuff, drop a question. We'll do a brief comment break. So, build a hair. I'm a bit nervous about applying it for myself the first time. Do you recommend having a friend help? I think it's a great option. The way that I have taught people, like on my YouTube channel, is kind of like this, right? One, I use the metaphor of riding a bike. Like the first time you ride a bike, generally, a lot of times you had somebody help you. Maybe you had some training wheels, all that kind of stuff. But the goal was and always is for you to get to the point where you can do everything yourself, pretty much yourself. So with hair systems, I feel like it's very, very similar. If you need somebody for that first application, if you need somebody to cut things down, 100%. Um, I really recommend that you do have somebody on standby. And if you're not going to use like a professional stylist to do it with you, a friend, significant other, it's great. Take extra time. Like take the whole night free. Make a night of it. Go get some wine. I don't know. And spend the time. Just go really, really slowly. And you might make some mistakes, but it's okay. Nothing is permanent. Okay. And there's a lot of tips on my YouTube channel. LaVivid also has a ton of tips that you can use on theirs. Um, Guest 19175. I'm a little lost. Don't know which one to order. I'd need 80% straight hair, probably the Zeo Helios. Um, okay. So do you mean 80% straight, as in 80% density and straight hair? Oh wait, I need to order 80% gray, straight, probably the Zeo Helios. Okay, well, great. Yeah, you can totally do that. So with our stock units, if you want to do 80% gray, I think we have a 1B80. LaVivid can probably check to see if that's in stock right now. If they want to check that for me, and they can put a little comment inside of this chat here while we're talking, if they've got like a 1B80 in stock. So let's continue on for now. Next, we've got the hair length. Now, for most men right here, the standard 6 inch is going to be plenty good. But let's just say you want to get crazy with it. You have long hair. You can get all the way up to 24-inch hair. I'm just going to select 12-inch hair, right? Because I'm going to have a crazy long style. Next, hair direction. So this is really, really cool. I actually need to start ordering my systems like this. I always part my hair to the left, which well, let's start over from the beginning and I'll get to there. So, most stock systems, they come with freestyle hair. And this is basically how it falls, right? So, it just falls in all directions. Now, you can see that if someone wants like a left crown, basically the hair is starting from the left side, they can do that. Want a right crown, you can do that. Center crown, you can also do that. These are really, really cool though. If you want hair that's kind of built to part, left part, right part, center part, well, you can order that and they can build this system to encourage the hair to go in that direction. Because when you have a system that isn't built for that, it can take a while to train the hair to kind of know where to go, um, and it will just work better. Like if you know what style you're going to go for, pick the parting. That's an actual absolute great thing. Um, 175. I like long hair. Which size should I order? Depends on how long you like your hair, man. You got to tell me, buddy. Um, so let's talk next about the front contour shape. So the contour shape basically means your front hairline. So this area right here, and what is the shape that it's going to take? So stock units have this CC. A C is going to be even straighter. Except for just very rare cases, I don't really recommend that you order that one. A CC for if you want kind of more youthful, straight across hairline. And then you can see it starts to get more and more aggressive. So the A to the double A to the B to the BB. And what that means is, right, if you actually want a system that has a little bit more recession built into it, you can order that. Who is that good for? Well, one, if you're a little bit older and you want to be modest, that's great. And also, this can help if you, say, for example, have like some of your temples gone on the side of your head and you're having trouble kind of like getting the right hairline to kind of like match and then go into your system. That can help getting a system with recessed hairline because it'll go and then kind of match up with your recessed temples. So that can be something that you really want to consider. So for this one, for ours, you know what? I will order a hairline. Next, bleach knots. So, right, we chose to order a Swiss lace. So I'm going to go yes for the entire base because why not? Then, extra lace polyurethane cutoff. So what that means is when you get a new system, stock unit or custom, it's going to have extra lace or extra poly at the front, extra material. And it doesn't have hair attached, and you can basically cut it off. So you don't need to select this, but I say why not? Just select yes, just to have LaVivid do it for you. Lastly, couple things here. So add clips. So you don't need this if you're going to use tape or glue. This is only for people that are going to clip in the hair into their natural hair. But you can of course order, 5, 4, 3, or no clips. So we're going to select no clips. And then lastly, you can have them actually give a haircut to the unit if you want them to cut it to a specific style, or if you want to give specific lengths of the hair in the different parts of your system. You can do that. And then you can write in the notes and send them an email with like the specific lengths, or you can even send them pictures of your dream style. You can do whatever you want there, and they can do it for you. So ultimately, that means that theoretically, you don't need anybody to do anything if you order a custom unit because you can get it cut, you can get it exactly what you need. If LaVivid has your template on hand, they can also make it to that template, which is great. And then lastly, right, you just put in your email and then you get a price. And then what will happen is that you will get a price and you can submit it to LaVivid so that way they'll contact you via email. When they contact you via email, right, you'll just confirm all the details. You can give them like your final, hey, this is what I want for my haircut, X, Y, and Z. And then boom, you're off to the races. They're going to send you a payment link and then it's going to get made. So that's the general process of ordering a custom system. That's the general process. So I told you there was going to be one, guys, if you have questions on any of that, on anything, please let me know. This is your time, so we can help you with all the questions. If you got anything about custom, anything about stock systems, anything about summer, anything about yours, any problems you're facing, I'm open ears. If you want a custom system, you can use a code Jake Custom to order it. That'll take 5% off of a custom system order for you. If once again you want to get one of the stock systems, if you order Jake Live, If you use that coupon code Jake Live, it'll give you 15% off. So that's really good as well. Just to remind you one more time. So let's kind of open it up to questions. Let's open it up to anything that you got. I can answer a couple more frequent asked questions about custom systems as well. Is it common for a system to fall off while you're sleeping? In 6 or 7 years, I've never had it happen. I've never had a hair system come off on a roller coaster, on a motorcycle, on anything. Not once. If you go too long with adhesive with a hair system, the adhesive is going to break down. Um, when that happens, obviously it's going to like lose that adhesive nature, and yeah, I mean, I guess it could come off easier, right? It's not going to be as stuck to your scalp, but this is medical grade, right? So this has been on for over a week, right? Ain't going nowhere, buddy. Ain't going nowhere. So you don't have to worry about any of that kind of stuff. Those are very, very common beginner questions that holds people back. It's just like, oh man, I don't know what's going to happen. You don't have anything to worry about. Your hair is not going to go anywhere. Let me know if you got any other questions. Anybody? We've got about 14 people here in the chat, so I'd love to hear some various questions. And what's holding you back from getting a system if you have not? What's holding you back? Is it fear of what other people are going to think, not knowing how to do it, not knowing what to order? Let me know. Um, do you mostly wash your hair system attached when taking bath? Do I mostly? That's all I do. In fact, um, I when I take off my system, right? So like once every 10 days or so, I will wash the system, the base and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, every day or sometime every other day when I take a shower, I'll wash my hair. I'll condition it. And by wash it, what I mean specifically is I encourage you to not use much shampoo, but to use conditioner a lot. So that way your hair stays moisturized and it stays, in good shape. Um, as far as the shampoo, we don't really need to shampoo it very much. Only when you're getting it like really, really dirty and you need to get, material out of your hair. I would recommend shampooing. But other than that, stick to conditioner mostly. Next question. How much French lace hair piece cost? Depends on the exact unit that you're looking at. So like for example, the the Thor would be a good unit for you to look at. Maybe LaVivid, if you can bring up the Thor, bring up some different prices for this person, that would be great. And remember, you have my code, which is Jake Live, and that'll give you 15% off, but only when we're live here. After we're live, the code won't work. So LaVivid, if you could do that for me, thank you. Next question. Can I ask what your confidence boot felt like when you first did this? Oh my gosh, I love this question so much. Um, Man, so I still remember the exact date. Um, like exactly where I was, exactly how everything happened when I first got a hair system. So I was in Miami, Florida. I drove about 3 hours um, to go to Miami, Florida. I was living in St. Pete, Florida. So I drove across. The whole time I was just thinking about, oh my God, I'm going to do it. I'm going to finally do it. Am I really going to do this thing? And the reason like I was freaking out is because, I had spent probably 7 years obsessing about my hair loss, and watching it go and thinking about getting a hair transplant, thinking about what am I going to do and feeling depressed. Just all of this stuff just ruminating in my brain. And finally, when I decided to do it, it just felt like it was happening so quick. And when I'm finally in the barber chair, right, with the woman, she shows me the unit. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Um, and then she comes back in with the razor, like the buzzer. She's like, you know what time it is? And I'm like, yeah. And that was the moment I was dreading, right? Because it's the point of no return when they're gonna like shave basically the area down where your hair loss is. You can't go back after that. That's it. That's all you got. it's that, or you're like, if you don't like the hair system, you're going bald, buddy, for a little bit until your lack of hair grows back. So, I'm sitting there in the chair freaking out, and she finally does it, and I'm just breathing, trying to be okay with it, trying to not freak out, because shaving my head was always like a worst nightmare. And, she applies it on my head, and all you just see is just like a mop, right? It's just like 6 inch long hair everywhere. And you're like, oh my God, what's going on? But slowly she starts cutting it down and cutting it down and cutting it down and cutting it down. And, um, as I started to see myself in the mirror as she was cutting it down, I'm like, oh my God, this actually looks pretty good. Man, this actually, what's going on here? And when she finished, and I saw myself for the first time, I was like, wow, this is incredible. I feel like a new human being. It completely changed my life after I got a hair system. Like I started just acting like a different human being. Um, I attacked life differently. I was dating somebody at the time, and she was super supportive. Um, Before that, I had trouble dating. I really didn't have much confidence. After, unfortunately, we broke up. Fortunately, unfortunately, whatever. But after that, dated confidently, and had the pleasure of dating many, many beautiful, inside and out women. And I don't even think about my hair system. I don't even think about them thinking about my hair system. It's just not part of what's in my head at any moment. So that changed the way I kind of attacked work and went about those things. Really changed. Um, And I would just say, like, my spice for life, I stopped running away from life. I stopped running away from people. I stopped running away a lot and started approaching life with a lot more tenacity. So hopefully that gives you a good, answer of like, did that change my confidence? Yeah, changed my confidence a lot. Really changed things for me. And that's why 6 years later, I'm still an advocate for it, still an advocate for, what we're doing here. Um, and for more people to take the jump. Yeah. Yeah, no problem. I have a lot of videos on my YouTube. If you go back all the way to the beginning, you'll see like some of my stories, and, the more emotional, um, it was a lot closer, right? It was just happening and I was recording videos. So you can see it on my face, like that it really, really hit me. Versus now it's a little bit more of a distant memory. Um, and I want to place an order now. Well, great. If you want to, remember to use those codes that I gave you. Jake Live, give you 15% off if you want to do that. If you need any help, LaVivid is in the comments here to help you with that, or even to take it into the DMs. You can do that. So we're going to close up here, in about 6 minutes, 7 minutes. So good time to ask questions if you got some for me, or if anything is holding you back from, ordering a system, whether it's the color that you need, what you should order specifically. I can go through that stuff with you, because obviously I want you to get the 15% off of a stock unit, or you can use that, Jake Custom for 5% off a custom unit. Um, those custom units, they can take about 6 to 8 weeks on average. That's the average time it takes for them to make this system, but they can rush it if you need it down to about 3 to 4 weeks if there's a need for that. So you can get that. And then you can keep on getting the same system. They can save the template and all the information for you, which is great, as well as you can have a different like root color even if you want, which is cool if you want to do something like that. So any final questions, guys, on custom units, how to order? um, any questions about life with the hair system, dating with the hair system, extreme sports with the hair system, CrossFit with the hair system, um, living life with the hair system, doing a live stream with the hair system, anything at all? glad i'm I'm glad you're liking the live. They're just meant to be educational, so I'm glad that it's landing for you. If you're in the sun all day for work, is it better or worse to wear a hat? Yeah, I would say if you're in the sun all day, I'd probably like, unless you don't want to wear a hat, I'd probably say wear a hat. One, it's going to protect the hair from UV damage. UV damage, what does that mean? Number one, the biggest thing is that the hair can change color. Like it can get a little bit lighter and bring out some red tones. Now you can always dye the hair back down to like your color, right? So you can dye it back. But if there's an option and you're going to be consistently, say, like working out in the sun, and you're not making a fashion statement by work, I'm assuming that you mean like construction or landscape or something like that. I'd probably wear a hat. I'd probably just wear a hat. Makes it easier, but you don't have to. You can also apply like a UV protectant spray to your hair systems, so that way it protects the color. So I do that. All right, like if I'm going to do beach days and stuff like that, I'll just throw on some UV protectant spray. You can even use some like spray sunscreen on the hair. That can work, although it does have alcohol in it, which can dry out the hair a little bit. But yeah, so. Yeah, you're in construction, right? So I would probably just say, just wear the hat, man. Get the hard hat. No, but that's probably your best option. But man, I know so many people that are in construction that have hair systems that do that, all that kind of stuff. So there's no worries there whatsoever. Okay. Any final questions that you guys got? And remember, you can take all this stuff into the DMs with LaVivid or emails for custom consultations for any other questions that you're too shy to ask here. But I'll stay with you here for the next 3 to 4 minutes. If any questions do come up, if there's anything you want to talk about. And wouldn't you just love to do this with your hair right now? To just run your hands through your hair. I know I'm teasing you, but hey, I'm allowed to. Just run your hands through your hair. Oh, wouldn't it be so good? I'm not gonna lie, it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. I find myself like sometimes I'm just getting a cigar and I'll just find myself running my hands through my hair, enjoying the night. Rub it in, why don't you? Yeah, well, I can't help it. I earned it. And the good news is you could do it too. You could do it too. But I remember, before I got my hair system, I felt the same way, right? I was just like, I see somebody rubbing their hands through their hair. It's like, oh God, you son of a jerk. I don't like you very much. um, and that all changed in a moment, and it can change for you in a moment. So, guys, it looks like we're going to come to the end of this live stream right here. Looks like no new questions have been asked here in a minute. So, remember, finally, you can use that Jake Live for 15% off stock systems. And then there's Jake Custom if you want 5% off of custom units. So the stock code, right, for the stock units is probably going to end, as soon as this live does. We might let it go for another 5 minutes or so if you want to buy a unit. For the custom, that will be honored after the live stream, obviously, because, there's a process. So no worries there. If you have any more questions, I'm going to leave it to LaVivid from now on in the DMs and the emails to take care of you. And until next time, I'll probably see you in about 2 weeks, and then we'll go over a little bit more with hair systems. So feel free to send messages to LaVivid if there's specific things that you want to know about in these lives. We can actually make whole lives based off of them, whether it's installing a unit, taking it off, cleaning it, all this kind of fun stuff. We've done it actually a couple weeks ago. I installed a unit, so live on camera. um, Anyways, have a good night, everybody. Thanks as always for attending, and we'll see you soon.